Hello, everybody. All right, we'll get started soon while more people are joining. We already have quite a bit of people in the chat. So today, my name is Finn. I am a director of product at Zeit. And we'll go through a lot of mastering screenshot and annotations. That's the title of the talk today. I've been making screenshot with Zeit for years, even before I was working at Zeit. So I compiled for you a little list of useful tips and tricks and like how you should use it, ways to make your workflow much faster. So we'll wait a minute. What would really help me is in the chat. I have the chat in another screen right here. If you can tell me, where you're from, always fun to see, people across different time zone. And like what a few people have done, like Kathy, David, Estella, like, what's your role? This will really help me just, tailor the presentation so I can give examples that are really, for you. All right. I think we have enough people. And another reminder, if it's your first webinar with us, you will get a video at the end of the webinar. So, if I go too fast, or feel free to just, scroll back, look at the video and see if there's anything that you might have missed. We'll send it to everybody, even if you have to drop out during the middle of the webinar. That recording is really useful. And if you're here, feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will be here presenting. I can see the chat, and I have my colleague Sandra, who is also, looking at the questions. So we're gonna get started. I will share with you different use cases, and I see people that are business owners, freelancers, um, um, team lead, for customer success, architect. There's a bunch of different use cases that Zai can help you with. And I'll try to show you roughly how you can make it useful, whether you're a customer or not yet. My goal is, you all have a computer, you all work on your computer a lot of hours during the day. So I want to make sure that you make the best use of the tool. Then I'll go through, a bit of screenshots 101, but I'm gonna still show you a bunch of ways you can make the most of it. And I also compile a list of pro tips that are going to be useful to you. And at the end, we'll end with, new features that are coming soon. And I would love to get your feedback on those. So a quick reminder, if you just joined, what is Zeit? It's a tool that lets you capture anything and share it easily. That's the simplest way to explain it. So you can take screenshots, videos, GIFs, you can edit them, and then you can easily share them with a link, in Slack, in an email, in Teams, anywhere you want. That's really what Zeit is all about. And screenshots is really a big part of Zeit. Once you start using it, a lot of our customers, that's what they use Zeit for mainly. And sometimes they're going to do a few screen recordings. But once you start getting the hang of screenshots, there's a lot that you can do with it. So it's available for all platforms, so Mac, iOS, Windows, Chrome. It works roughly the same way on all of these platforms. So we work quite a lot to make sure that most features are on all platforms. If you have a specific question about a platform in the chat, feel free to let me know. I use all of these platforms daily, so I'm happy to help you answer them. So mastering screenshots. So why do people use screenshots? It might seem like a silly question, but honestly, a lot of times, I still discover every day ways of people using our product. So you can see, I just found yesterday 2 pieces of feedback from customers. So someone is like saying, it's easy to find my most recent screenshots, edit it, and post it in the format I need. So it's incredibly easy to screenshot during meetings or tasks without having to completely switch gears. So if you do a screenshot with just your Mac or your Windows computer, a lot of times they just go away or they clutter your desktop. One thing that Zeit does is take a screenshot and upload it. So basically, it's easy for you to keep taking screenshots. Even if you don't look at them, you keep taking screenshots. And whenever you open the app, I have a history of years of different screenshots that are important. Today, for example, I wanted to show an old design from 4 years ago, and I just went on my account and found that screenshot. So like really being able to reference what was on your screen at that time is really what's helpful there. Um, someone else, Kate here, was saying, I primarily use it as a visual reference in Slack messages. I will write up instructions or updates. So personally, that's what I use it for. I'm a product manager, so I deal with a lot of engineering teams, sales teams. So whenever I want to show someone something, usually I send screenshots in Slack. I see, for example, Robert, architect. It's easy to screenshot a contract or like a specific design, take a screenshot of it and keep it for reference, or just annotate it and send it to coworkers to explain like something that you want different. So roughly that's what screenshots are for. Is it's great for a visual support, and a lot of the times a good visual support is better than a meeting or writing a long email. So it should help you save time, and I guarantee it will help you save time once you get the hang of it. If you already use screenshot on your computers, the fact that it's uploaded unlocks a lot of different things. So one question that I got often is really, why don't I just use the Mac or Windows screenshot tool? Like, what's different? You probably all used it before you switched to Zeit, or you're still using the Mac or Windows screenshot tool. 4 reasons that I listed. First one, it's easy to share a link. So if you work in another tool, like, I don't know, Salesforce, if you work in sales, or Zendesk, if you are a customer success person, you can paste the link in a ticket, and that way the link is easy to reference later on, look at it later on, add it as documentation. So you can embed those links everywhere. And the second value there is getting analytics. So the screenshot on the top right is the kind of emails that we send you whenever there's activity on your screenshot, letting you know whenever someone views it. So if you are someone that deals with customers on the daily, you send a screenshot and you know whenever that person saw it. Whenever I send documentation to a client, usually I send it with sites, so I get notified whenever that person opens it. And that's one thing that you don't get when you just attach an image. So analytics is a big component of it, and security and private links. So, there is a lot of options that we have related to security. I will not go through all of them. I'll focus on screenshots today. But you can make a screenshot private if it has private info. If you work in a team settings, you can make sure that, for example, someone in the engineering team doesn't share sensitive information. So you can make sure that screenshots are private. So that's something that our customers really love, especially when they're like at the enterprise level. There's a lot of security requirements that our tool provides versus just having screenshots laying around everywhere that might have sensitive information. And the fourth idea why it's better than just the tool you already have on your computer is that we keep them organized in the cloud, so it's easy to go and reference them later on. So without further ado, I will show you the different features that you can use. Maybe you use it already, and feel free to tell me your stories in the chat. It's always good to see how you use it, and maybe I can show you different ways where you can make the most use of your license. We have 3 ways of taking screenshots, 3 main features that are all available in the different platforms. So whenever you open the app, you will see, and it's the same on Mac, Windows, you will see main options at the top. So record for videos, capture, GIF, and annotate. Capture and annotate are both basically taking a screenshots. So let me show you. I will see the screen. Whenever you click on the button, you see a few different options, and I'll go through them because I think there's a lot of features that you might have missed on that specific screen. You can start your selection immediately, and right away you see the preview on the bottom right. And I don't know if you heard a little ding. That means the link is copied and you can already paste it in an email or anywhere you want. So you see the preview on the bottom right, and I will go, for example, in an email, and you can drag and drop that preview in the email right away. You can also just do paste, Command V, and you can see that the link already has the image available. And if I want to explain something to someone, really easy to share. That's the general idea. Then we have more options. So delayed screenshots, that lets you capture things like drop down or hover states. I think there was a designer on the call. I saw in the list of people on this call. If you want to do something like hover states, so for example, if you see here, I will probably try to zoom here or find a better hover state maybe. So a lot of times when you hover on things, you see it changes color. That is super hard to actually capture sometimes, and it's hard to capture, to have the perfect interface. So what you would do as a designer or product manager, like right now, I clicked on another app and that menu closed. So what you can do is go on the More menu in the app, which will give you a lot more features of Zeit. And there is a feature called delayed screenshot. So it takes a screenshot after a few seconds. And what's great about it is that if I do the same selection here, I get a countdown, and during that countdown, I can reopen the menu. So the screenshot now has that drop down. So really, when I say mastering screenshots, this is the kind of scenarios that a lot of our users might be encountering. You might be even a support person or a customer success person. You want to show a specific option in your product, and the menu keeps closing whenever you try to take the screenshot. So what you want is use a delayed screenshot. And during the countdown, you can just go and open the menu and make sure that the information is captured. So really, really useful tool if you work on your computer every day. The last mode of screenshot that is really useful is scrolling captures. So this is only available in our Chrome extension for now. We're going to add it soon on our Mac application. And what it does is basically it scrolls the page for you. So let's say I go to Zeit.com. You can see this page has a lot of content. And it might be hard for you to screenshot everything. And you don't want to take like 5 screenshots one after the other and try to stitch them together. There is a better way to do this. So the way that I would tell you to do it would be to open our Chrome extension. And as you can see, it's the same interface. You can just click on screenshot. And you can see in the middle here different shortcuts. And there is one that is called capture entire page. That is E. So if I do E, it's going to start scrolling the page for me. So I'm not doing anything. It's starting and it's taking multiple screenshots and putting them together. So in the end, I will get a link with my screenshot of that full page. It's loading right now. So really, really useful if you're someone that works in marketing, product, even sales. You want to show like, here is everything that we do, and here is a screenshot showing all the different components. So you can see here it captured the whole page, and it opened a link that I can paste. I can, you have access to a lot more things where you can rename it. You can add a description of that content and the name and description are great because later on you will be able to search what was the screenshot again of that long page. Just search by the name and you'll be able to find it. You can add some restriction in sharing settings. There's a lot of them. So, another webinar or even in our support docs, feel free to play around with those. There's a lot of things that you can do. You can also annotate on the web as well later on. So we have 2 ways to annotate, which will be the next thing I'm going to show you. How to screenshot and how to annotate. So now that you know how to screenshot, basically you have the option here at the top, capture. You also have another option called annotate. And what this does is if you do a selection, it immediately opens a screen to let you add information. So You can add arrows, you can add some lines, you can highlight some texts, you can draw some shapes. So a bunch of different options at the top. And let's give you a more concrete example. Let's go on a website and try to give some feedback to like our marketing team. So I will go on the menu. I will either click on annotate, or as you can see, whenever I hover on the button, you can see a shortcut associated with that action. So it says here Command Shift A. So I will just do Command Shift A. Right away, you get the screen to make your selection. You can select the part of the website you want. It immediately opens the annotation window. So if you work on a computer every day, if you start learning these shortcuts, it's going to make you, work twice faster. You can then do quick things like change the headline. You can start giving feedback to someone. So whether you want to give feedback to a customer, show a customer where a specific feature is. So like, here is a button, here is what you need to do. You can just start annotating and explaining the interface. That's the kind of workflow that will make you save a lot of time. There are a few other options like here, these little square here are to blur information. So if you work with customers every day, if you want to make sure that they don't look at a specific part of your screen or there's some sensitive information there, you can just start and doing a selection and it's going to blur it out. This is really, really useful to make sure that you never share any sensitive information while still explaining other parts of your screen. Our support team personally uses it quite a lot because whenever they tell a customer about their account or some features that they have, we don't want to show other customer data. You have a lot of options at the top. To be honest, play with them. There's a lot of options that are great, like adding text. Maybe try this other headline. All of these shapes are movable, so you can move them around. You can make them, much bigger. Sometimes what we do, especially if you work in product or design, I try to do mock-ups. So like I use Zeit to do a demonstration of what I would love the new interface to be. So it doesn't need to be perfect. It's not a fully designed tool. It's just great to say, okay, here is what I want here, and maybe let's remove this option in the menu, these two options. So I can start really trying to build and better communicate what I want from my team really quickly. And quick tip, so while you're all here, the one tip that no one ever noticed because it's quite power user, if ever you start doing arrows and start typing, it's gonna automatically switch to the text tool. So that's a nice little tidbit. So let's say I actually want to change the text of the button. You can still click on any shape and move them around. If you draw an arrow to the button and I start typing, like try get started for free, it automatically switched to the text tool and it automatically put the text next to the arrow. This is really, really good if you do a lot of annotations because you can start adding an arrow, start typing, click on share. It's going to save immediately the screenshot. And I can then go on like Slack and drag and drop this image right away. So in a few seconds, I can explain an idea and it's much faster than starting to type every single change that has to be done. So in terms of like workflows, optimizing how you work, honestly, Annotations is a tool that a lot of our customers use. Sometimes a video can be really long to make, or like you're in a noisy environment. So sometimes a screenshot is better than a video when it's a few changes that you want to explain, or as you saw in my screenshot, let's open the link that is still in my pasteboard. It's easier to look at all the changes that I want versus trying to explain them. Can you please change this at the top? It's hard to imagine, whereas when it's visual, it's great. Let me show you another thing about annotation. So let's do a fresh one. Just go on Zeit.com. And I will do Command-Shift-A. I'm going to do my selection. Immediately, I get the annotation window. You have a few options. You can rename. You can add it to your favorites. You can add it in folders. There is some options at the bottom. So you can undo and redo annotations. So if you start adding, some shapes, you have to do undo. You can zoom in and zoom out if you click on it, or like zoom to fit. And there's this little option that I honestly find really, really useful called drag me. And what drag me does is basically, even before you're done your annotation, even before you're done saving it, if I go back on Slack, I open Zeit. Okay, so I'm back to my annotation screen. You can click on this drag me and start dragging it. So sometimes I'm not even done annotating, I'm not even saving it, I'm just dragging a version of it, even before I save all the annotations. This is really useful whenever you want to show, like, can we do this or can we do that? And you just do all of these different variations. Really, really useful. Let me show you one last thing, which is the settings about annotations and screenshots. If you want to be a power user, I would recommend you to go into preferences. We have a lot of different settings that make really Zeit powerful. That's where you can really customize your experience. So you can see when a file is ready to share, you can decide to copy the share link or the content itself. So the share link is the Zeit link that you see. And on any paid plan, you can also decide to automatically share the content. So if you don't like the share link, you can just have the content. And whenever you are in a Teams discussion, for example, you can hit paste and it's going to paste that image. You can decide to play the glass, like play a sound or not. A lot of people like it because they can know whenever the link is ready. But since we're a quick tool, it's ready, almost instantly. So that's where you can disable it. The other options that I would recommend you looking at is after a screenshot here, you can see that you can do either automatically open the web page or automatically open the editor or show a quick preview or do nothing. So opening web is basically the page I showed you with the URL of Zeit that you can easily put anywhere. Open editor opens the annotation. Show the quick preview is basically whenever you do a screenshot. Okay, let's just screenshot this. And whenever you save it, this is the quick preview on the bottom right. You can decide to drag and drop it or copy the link again or annotate it, which will open the annotation window, or copying the content. So copying the content will copy the image. So if I click on copy content, for example, and I will go back to Slack, I can just hit paste, and now I have the image here. So you can see how, like, knowing all of these shortcuts or like just trying them over time, you will get a lot of easy, quick workflows that you can help you work faster in your day-to-day life. All right. Let me know if you have any question. Again, I'm looking at the chat. It's here next to me, so really happy to look into those. Pro tips. This is the part that is really useful, I think, if you start getting the hang of screenshots. If you start any capture, you get this screen. And this screen basically shows you a lot of different options. So click once for full screen, will select the full screen. Click and drag to select the area. That's what a lot of our users do. They just want to show a specific part of their screen. Look at the bottom and you see two options that a lot of people might miss sometimes. Space to select a window basically lets you cleanly select one window, so you don't have to play, zoom in and try to find the exact window. Will do it for you. So that's one that I use a lot of times. So let's say I have the Chrome window. Let's open this. And it's quite small here. And I want to try to select only this window really well. So I can now do Command-Shift-5, and I'll do space. And you can see this little camera. You can hover over the specific window, click once, and it's going to take a screenshot that is taking, the exact proportions. And let me show you one more thing, which is if you open it or share it, it adds a little shadow all around. So it's really clean. Whenever you want to share a specific window, now it's super clean, and you can, start annotating or start sharing it. That was pro tip number 1. Let me show you another one. So shortcuts, as I mentioned, look at the shortcuts that we offer whenever you hover over them. And you can go into your preferences, and under shortcuts, you can actually customize everything. I've talked to someone in support a few months ago, and he was saying that he had one of these, mouse that had many buttons on it, and he assigned shortcuts, annotation to all of these buttons. So for him, it was really easy to just take a shortcut, send it, and you can really just customize them, whether you're on Windows, Mac. So shortcuts, honestly, if you want to master Zeit, that's one thing to look at. The other tip is what I showed you earlier, which is open the preferences, and there's a lot of different options. So like after a screenshot, you can decide to just open the web or just use the link. Really, really useful. Hot tip number 3 is sharing. So whenever you take screenshots, you can customize the sharing page, you can customize the security settings, and there is one setting that I particularly love, which is in preferences under appearance. It's called screenshot naming, use application window titles. What this does is whenever you do a screenshot, so now you know how to make a quick screenshot, the name used on the file will automatically be the name of the window that you're using. So I think, let me do another try. So you can see here, it automatically named inbox 16 seraphin@cl.ly Zeitmail. This is amazing as a setting because later on you can just go in your dashboard and start searching for some screenshots. So if you know that you were typing an email and you're trying to find it, you can just search for inbox and see all the screenshot of your inbox. So another way to gain time and go much faster. We auto-name screenshots for you based on what we see on your screen. And later on, that's going to be a feature that we're working on. We will start indexing a lot more than this. So you'll be able to say, what was this Jira ticket or Zendesk ticket? And we'll try to look into the images and find you the right tickets. So that would be coming soon later in the year. Hot tip number 4, there's more features on the web and in other apps. Feel free to explore the annotation feature on the web. It's great. It gives you the same options like arrow, line, text, but it also adds a bunch more things like, markers and like number tools. So like step 1, step 2, step 3. This is really useful whenever you want to add step-by-step instructions. And let's go back to the presentation. I think we're close to the time, so I'll just show you a quick sneak peek of what's next. Let me know if you have questions. Feel free to re-watch this video or just email us. We'll be happy to show you better ways to use the product. So what's coming next in the next few, this feature is actually coming next week. We'll let you easily duplicate an existing screenshots, and also we'll start listing all the different versions of that screenshot. So let's say you take a screenshot of your website, you save it, then you add annotations, you save it. We'll start keeping all of that history, so you'll be able to go back to a previous version. That's going to be really useful. It's going to be available on all our paid plans. And it's great. The one reason I love it is that a lot of the times you make some annotations, but you want to remove them. So you'll be able to go back to your first screenshot and just redo your annotations. You can also duplicate it. So if you want to do multiple versions of the same element, you'll be able to. So that's coming soon next week. And the other feature that I teased a bit earlier in the channel, in the webinar, is scrolling captures on Mac. So right now it works on Chrome, but we'll soon add it on Mac, and Windows will be coming right after. And that's it, right on time. Let me know if you have any more questions. I'll be hanging out for a minute or two. And yeah, hope you can make the most out of your Zeit subscription. Thank you all. All right, I'll be hanging out in the chat.